It's time now for Media Watch, and we can say good evening to James Creedon.
Hi, Delano.
You're starting out with, well, a monumental mix-up at the Oscars for the Best Picture Award.
That's right. It's inevitably the big buzz du jour. Everybody talking about what was an insane end to the Oscars, as Elisa Rosenberg writes for The Washington Post. Now, just to give you a couple of impressions about how the Oscars ended, of course, for those who aren't already aware, who are on planet Mars. The award went to La La Land before actually being given to Moonlight in what is just really a historic mix-up for an award ceremony. So this is a quote from that article in The Washington Post by Elisa Rosenberg. What's even worse about this colossal error is the way it denied everybody involved with Moonlight their moment of triumph from being announced as winners in an uncomplicated way with an untainted round of applause, and from getting to give acceptance speeches out from under the shadow of people who had already spoken and who had suffered a crushing disappointment. So I think really people felt it was so unfair on the film that actually wanted to have to be awarded the victory in that manner. Meanwhile, over at The New Yorker, Gia Tolentino is writing about it as well, and he's saying every detail of the awards show was weighted with racial, cultural and political meaning that it couldn't possibly sustain. A lot of this down to Donald Trump's election, the fact that the whole country is polarised, and Hollywood certainly is as well. La La Land and Moonlight were directly pitted against each other and had long ago become stand-ins for whiteness and blackness. La La Land, very nostalgic, looking back to perhaps a certain golden age of Hollywood in some respects, certainly a very white cast for the most part, whereas Moonlight, a very different story, and in some ways the political situation had was very present in terms of what people's expectations as to what the result would be. There is only one real narrative in the country right now, and every major cultural event seems to be providing comment on it. And the article goes on to say that at the Super Bowl we saw the same thing, with the Falcons and the Patriots occupying similar cultural polarities. And the article goes on to say that the Best Picture Award can't possibly answer the question about what Hollywood should choose in terms of social progress versus a degree of nostalgia. That there were too many expectations on what the award would symbolise. So just a quick whip through some other things. Meryl Streep's apparently hilarious reaction seems to sum things up for a lot of people. She did seem rather shocked when the Best Picture Award was changed. Of course, Meryl Streep has spoken out very, very publicly against Donald Trump. So those who don't like her and see her as a liberal, lefty, Hollywood anti-Trump figure think that this is going to come in handy for the next 4 years. In other words, the politics of the US is not exactly going in her in her preferred direction right now. Piers Morgan, also somebody who speaks out in favour of Donald Trump occasionally. Ha 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 land. Sorry, but you have to laugh at the hypocritical Hollywood's moment of hubris and humiliations. There you go. Lots of comment online.
He often speaks out in favour of Donald Trump.
He does indeed.
But you're moving on to here in France, where a French presidential election campaign is underway, and Emmanuel Macron is gaining ground against rival Marine Le Pen.
That's right. The weeks are ticking down now. Only 8 weeks or so to go, and a new poll shows the centrist candidate, the maverick centrist Emmanuel Macron, chomping at the heels of Marine Le Pen. These are the first round votes. All polls showing Marine Le Pen being defeated in the second round, but of course polls are increasingly unreliable. In any case, there's a lot of stuff I could go through. I'm not sure if we have the time to do it, but one blow to Emmanuel Macron today was the Minister for Digital Affairs, Axel Le Maire, who actually worked directly under Emmanuel Macron, so he was her boss. Emmanuel Macron has also very much vaunted his digital sort of knowledge and whatnot. She has said, I'm not supporting him. He symbolises too much of a centralised, sort of personality-driven candidacy. Blurring the lines between left and right is not something that should be done, and she is supporting the Socialist Party candidate, Mr. Hamon. So that's a bit of a blow for him today. Just a few more elements online. You have, of course, both the Conservative candidate, François Fillon, and Marine Le Pen, their parties, their respective candidacies, rather, being sullied by criminal charges of various degrees. But you can see here this cartoon online showing that Mr. Fillon is indeed suffering in the polls as a result of that, being crushed in some ways by the perception of his candidacy because of these scandals. That is not affecting Marine Le Pen at all, who seems to be quite Teflon in that regard. This is another cartoon picking up on the whole issue of criminal charges, showing various presidents, and you can see there, I'm imagining a president with an electronic bracelet, in other words, criminal charges, and where that could go. Of course, it's a bit of a catastrophist image, and I doubt François Fillon would ever have to wear an electronic bracelet should he reach the Elysee, but that's a Mediapart left-wing kind of stance on it.
And very quickly, the left and the right have failed to mend their fences and mount a combined campaign.
That's right. Just to take a look at this latest poll, you can see that at the bottom of the list there, you have Hamon, who is the Socialist Party candidate, and Mélenchon, who is the far-left candidate. If you add up their two tallies, they could have a very strong left-wing ticket. It became clear on Sunday that that's not going to happen. There's been a lot of speculation about whether the two would join forces. A lot of disappointment amongst left-wing voters and far-left voters, because really this is unlikely to see either man qualify for the second round. So you have a lot of people commenting on that on social media, saying this is really a war of egos between the two men, and very, very disappointing for the left-wing voters.
James Green, thank you very much
Thanks,
for
Leno.
Media Watch.